Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Jupiter stationing retrograde in Gemini on October the 9th. So Jupiter is the planet of expansion and opportunities and big dreams and wishes and kind of that goal fulfillment. It also rules the sign of Sagittarius and Pisces, so it's often associated with being very lucky, which it is quite a lucky sign. But when Jupiter retrogrades, we don't necessarily shoot for the stars and we go big. We more dream big and reevaluate and rethink our goals and our opportunities. So this is more of a period of rethinking and almost getting a pen and paper and jotting things down rather than saying, right, I'm going to go and do this. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what this means for every sign. So we're going to go all the way through the zodiac. This will apply to your rising sign. So if you know that, please watch for that. And yeah, carry on. So Jupiter has been in the sign of Gemini since May, and in May that's more of the time for those opportunities, so actually dreaming big and going big, whereas in October the 9th when it retrogrades, that's more about rethinking and reevaluating and being very introspective, and it's a very spiritual and philosophical time for us as well, especially because Jupiter rules that very philosophical sign of Sagittarius. And Pisces, of course, which is all about dreaming and head in the clouds, and you know, it's very illusory almost. So wherever Jupiter was in May for your sign will also be here for the retrograde. So for example, if you're in Aries, it will be in your third house in May. It will also still be in your third house for the retrograde. But let's get started with all the signs. So let's begin with Aries, and this is in your third house of productivity. So rethinking and reevaluating the ways that you've been productive over the past 6 months. So this could be either or, so take what resonates for you, because I have no real way of knowing if it's one or the other for you. But in productivity, this is about either slowing down and taking some time to have more relaxation in your life and to protect your mental health. And for others, this is more about trying to be more of a go-getter. So for example, saying, I've only got 3 months of the year left. I really got to get my shiz together, and pushing it forward. So you'll either land on either or of the spectrum here, being too productive or not productive enough, and reevaluating your day-to-day tasks as well. Specifically, if some of you have been doing like a writing project, or you've been doing a lot of essays for school or a lot of writing for work, you might be thinking about trying to do more projects that don't require that as much. And again, not necessarily starting any new projects, more just rethinking those projects. If you're a Taurus, this is in the second house of finances, so rethinking the way that you invest your money. So for example, saving money for something specific, or either taking some savings that you've accumulated from last year and this year together combined, and then spending it on something that you've actually been wanting to for a while. So this firmly sits within the investing financial sector for you. And of course, Taurus rules the second house of finances too. So this is kind of like your element, really. It's quite a good energy for money. But again, you're not necessarily going to blow your money on anything, and you're not necessarily going to make a very risky investment. It's more about rethinking what you're spending your money on. So for example, making a budget, or thinking, I've spent some time saving and I'm going to reap the rewards now. Again, either or that you'll fall into here. If you're a Gemini, this is obviously going to be in your sign. So this is the first house of identity and self. So rethinking the way that you come across to the world, and that could be in your physical appearance. Again, not necessarily making any big changes to your physical appearance, but perhaps thinking more about it. So for example, like a physical health regime, saying I've got 3 months of the year left, so I'm going to do this plan to get my body in shape. But really, I think it's more about your purpose in life. So how you are situated in the world. How do people see you? How do you see yourself, right? When you ask somebody, what do you think of me? What do they tend to say? Okay. And if you ask yourself, what do I think of myself? What do you tend to say? Are you more judgmental of yourself? Are you more kind to yourself? Is there a specific kind of affirmation that comes to mind when you think of yourself? This is going to be what you're reevaluating, rethinking. So your purpose, the way that you come across, and that word identity, which is such a loose word, that identity that you have in this world amongst multitude of other identities. How do you fit into the picture? You're a puzzle piece in this picture. How do you fit? If you're a Cancer, this is the 12th house. So this is more about improving your mental health or rethinking some of your mental health regimes. So again, this could be either or depending on what you've been working on. So take what resonates here. But for some of you, this is going to be relaxing your mental health regime. So for example, if you've done a very sort of 75 hard style regime where I get up at 6 a.m. and I read 10 pages of a book and I have to do this and no alcohol, and, you know, you might be thinking I'm going to be less strict because actually it's more of a detriment to my mental health, or it's just not necessary. And for some of you thinking, actually, I need to start employing more of those methods for my mental health. I don't have any cancer placements, but I know for sure I probably do. So it's that time to be more introspective. And actually, the 12th house is a great time for this Jupiter retrograde, because you're not necessarily going out and, you know, shooting. You're more just being the hermit. You know, it's that 12th house of the hidden and you know, being more sort of like concealed. So actually, I think this is it's not necessarily a good time, but it's probably more of an apt time, should we say. If you're a Virgo, then this is the 10th house of career. So rethinking your career field, either the actual kind of job sector that you're in. So for example, maybe you work in health and you want to start working in education, or you want to take a specific route through those sectors. You're going to be thinking about that a little bit more. For some of you, been putting a lot of work in, and maybe you got a little but not a lot. I did a tarot reading on this recently, actually, about getting a little or not a lot. So you've wanted to get a promotion, but for example, it's just not been in the cards for you. Then this is going to be more of a sort of introspective time for you. So again, I think you're going to be thinking, what kind of career do I want? How am I coming across to the world? And for some of you, this may be a difficult period because you start rethinking kind of everything you've been working towards and saying, oh my God, I spent all this time doing this and I've got like nothing from it. But it's actually going to be quite a good opportunity for you to not only reap the rewards in terms of salary and income, but actually enjoying your career as well. If you're a Leo, then this is going to be time to relax and quieten down a little bit, and also just reevaluating what truly makes you happy, you know, what makes you passionate. And it reminds me of the Kim Cattrall quote when she's like, I don't want to spend even an hour of my day doing something that I don't enjoy. If you're a Libra, then this is in the 9th house. So this is going to be surrounding spirituality, travel, or study. So rethinking, again, not necessarily putting any action into place or ending anything, but rethinking your travel arrangements or your study arrangements. So for example, if you're going on a gap year, then obviously you're going to stop studying and going traveling, and then you may come back from gap year to study. Or just thinking, I want to prioritize having more of a good time than studying, or vice versa. There's going to be some element of that. Some of you may also start rethinking about long distance travel or commuting for work, for example. So thinking, I cannot be putting in this hour commute every day for my corporate job. It's just too much for me. I just can't do it. So there's going to be an element there. And for some of you, more of a spiritual route. So thinking more about, you know, maybe astrology and tarot. And for others, trying to incorporate your spirituality with maybe more traditional practices that you've grown up with. So for example, Christianity or Islam. If you're a Scorpio, this is going to be in the 8th house. So this is quite intriguing because we could look at it from looking at shared investments and, you know, maybe putting money together with family members or a partner and trying to enhance your income. But I really see it more as dealing with this throat chakra. So speaking your truth and being authentic. So if you felt like you've been hiding yourself away from the world, or you've been living some kind of lie, or you've been actually entertaining people that lie to you, or they keep you in the dark about things, there's going to be a real come to light moment for this. And it's really about what you will accept for yourself and others. So are you going to accept living a lie? Are you going to accept other people in your life not giving you the full truth? Are you going to accept the fact that you may go through the day to day and you're not truly being your authentic self, right? You're hiding away. And I just really see for Scorpio that throat chakra where it's like, I'm just going to do whatever and I don't care what other people think of me, because I think there is an element of judgment there with that 8th house. And of course, Scorpio and the 8th house are just together, right? So this is truly introspective moment for you, Scorpio, but it's more about what you will allow into your life. And for some of you, this may be, you know, struggling with feelings of a loved one that's passed away, and it's felt like it's been very difficult for you. So there is an element here of not hiding away and expressing yourself and putting yourself out into the world, but doing it in a way that is kind and almost baby steps. You know, I don't think this is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to put myself out into the world. It's more like, I'm going to just slowly emerge from the cocoon. If you're a Sagittarius, then this is the 7th house of committed relationships or contracts. So reevaluating a relationship that you're already in. And no, that does not mean that if you have a relationship, you're breaking up with someone. It could actually be advancing your relationship to the next level, or trying to figure out and kind of maneuver that relationship into something that makes you more happy. So this could be a multitude of things. For example, moving in with your partner, or having more of a relaxed arrangement with your partner. So for example, like, we always see each other at this time, and you know, just kind of relaxing those regimes. For other people, this is actually letting go of a relationship. So again, not necessarily like breaking up, although for some of you this may be that, but more hanging on to the ideals of a relationship. So this deals with committed relationships, the 7th house. So it's a little bit more about having an actual, like, physical, tangible boyfriend, girlfriend. But this can also apply to a crush or a situationship, or someone that in your life that you would have liked to have had that committed relationship with. For other Sagittariuses, this is more about a contract, so that could be marriage, but for a lot of you, you see this more about a contract with work, for example, or a contract with a business. This could even be a contract with an apartment landlord, so you know, you could be changing your rent, or thinking about actually going to somewhere else as well. If you're a Capricorn, then this is the 6th house of physical health and co-workers. So it could be reevaluating the way that you work with co-workers, either trying to find a way that you have more ease with them if they're a little bit difficult, or just trying to get the best out of a bad situation. For others, this is more about rethinking your physical health regime. So for example, if you have an injury, then you're thinking about ways that you can still work out, but maybe not as hard as before. I'm a Capricorn rising and I have a bit of a foot injury at the moment, but I still want to keep up with my running regime. So I'm trying to figure out a way to do that. And I'm trying to rethink that at the moment. So that resonates to me. But for some of you, that could also be thinking, you know, I've got 3 months of the year left. I really got to put my work in for a physical regime. I've got to like get this body toned and nice. So it could be either or, but it's just a reevaluation of your physical health and your regime. And again, going on a diet, or thinking I need more like collagen in my diet, more gelatin and protein, and, you know, just trying to look good as I age. If you're an Aquarius, and this is the 5th house of dating, creativity, and kind of partying and social. So could be reevaluating going into the dating world and saying, you know, I do want a partner. I think I'm going to start emerging into that. And for others, it's coming out of it saying, yeah, I'm fed up with these dating apps. I'm not finding anybody, or I want to find someone organically and that's just not working out for me. So a reevaluation of dating. But others that are not interested in that at all, this is more about creativity and finding hobbies and fun things that you're passionate about, especially in the winter months where we get those SAD months that just make us feel a little bit sort of down and sad and dark, and it's like, oh, I need something fun and exciting to pull myself out of that kind of slump. And for others, this is more of a sort of like social thing, like going to parties, or even like museums, and more artistic things that bring us more, bring us closer to a more of our creative and passionate side. And if you're a Pisces, then this is the most interesting, in my opinion, house for the Jupiter retrograde, because it's the 4th house of home and family. And there's nothing more introspective than thinking about your home and your family and where you have roots. So for some of you, this is thinking about going to live in a hometown, or moving out of a hometown, thinking about putting a deposit down for a house, or not necessarily moving house again, because it's a retrograde. It's not necessarily making any big moves, just reevaluating, rethinking, saying, do I really want to live here? You know, do I want to live in this apartment? I want to move to this house. Do I want to live in this house? I want to move here. You know, I always keep thinking like, I want to move to a farm or something. Like, why am I here? I want to move to a farm. So reevaluating that kind of aspect. For some of you, rethinking children, or how you want to expand your family, and that could be like a little dog family or a cat family, or whatever you consider to be family. And of course, that also encompasses your parents as well. So for some of you, you might start thinking more about how to include your parents in your life, especially if they're getting older and you're not sure how to situate them in your lifestyle right now. So the phrase I keep hearing is sowing the seeds for a greater tomorrow. Sounds like something from a political election, like sowing the seeds for, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like, we're not necessarily watching the flower bloom, and we're not harvesting the flower, but we are sowing the seeds. So it's kind of like we're thinking and reevaluating, and we're being strategic. We're having some strategic redirection right now, and it's very introspective for us. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that video, and it was informative and interesting. If you have any questions, you can always feel free to ask me in the comments below. And hopefully catch you for another video soon. Bye.